Hi guys, I finally made it home. I went to Target to get some water. It's been pretty hot here. And of course I was harassed in Target. So let me give you a little backstory, being these people are continuing the harassment here and also now out in the community. When I was 5 years old, my mother had a boyfriend who was inappropriate. The neighbors also. He's now police chief, Mr. Sal Megna. This was his grandfather. It was funny every morning to go over there in the summer and try to play with his aunts, Lisa and Gina. He didn't even speak English. This man spoke Italian. I was very respectful. He showed up at the gym at 90 years old recently before he passed away, making fun, slobbering all over himself, acting inappropriate at 90 years old. All these men stood around the gym and thought it was funny. Okay, so then it went down to the East End. My cousin molested me. Yeah, so those of you of sensitive nature, please, you're gonna have to, maybe tune out a little bit because this covers some topics that are sensitive, but this is what's going on here. I ignored him. He eventually became a heroin addict and never stopped. These people don't stop. Okay, he was my half family. Okay, this was my mother's boyfriend's half family, his nephew. This man's nephew. I also have two half brothers that thought this was funny because then we moved out to Fort Johnson. I find out recently this man was a cop. Okay, my ex-husband never told me this was his cousin. When I got out to Fort Johnson, I was 14 years old. These men harassed me every time I went up to the ice skating rink. We used to ice skate. Me and my neighbor next door, Teresa, she's a teacher now involved in this. Constant ignoring, harassing. When I went to college, her and my mother became pretty tight friends, and it was very hurtful. But this man, was a hotshot Washington, D.C. police officer. I was 14 years old. My husband at the time was in his early 20s with all his friends, and these were his younger cousins. Football players, big parties. When your daddy buys you a bar, which one of the football players was, Mr. Lanzi, it was called the Annex. All the popular kids hung out there. I didn't. I would go up to the ice skating rink. Teresa's sister Rose was taking ice skating lessons. We're into the Dorothy Hamill. She would give us a couple practice lessons. Teresa would leave, snicker and laugh. They always used to play this song by Aerosmith. I didn't know exactly what it was. The long hair bands back then we all listened to. I was kind of the kid that got picked on, and I put up with it for 4 years there. They wouldn't let me be in the honor society. I couldn't be a majorette. I couldn't be in the theater. There's a lot of backstories with those, but I'll keep to this timeline. So this is what these guys were doing, hanging at the Annex, doing all this coke, dealing drugs, big party. The Casellises have big parties. The Cuddys had big parties. The Flanagans have big parties. This guy over here on North Main now, Mr. Flanagan, doesn't want to give me my security, so I know he's connected somehow. So these people continue. While I was at the ice skating rink, I was 14 years old. My ex-husband now claims he didn't know that my cousin had a little cousin. That would be me, because he got involved, the two of them, with the coke trade. How much? I don't know, because they continue to lie. Now we have another police officer involved because he lived in Fort Johnson, hotshot cop from Washington, D.C., involved in with all these people my mother's age. So by this time they were in their early 30s, my mother and all these friends of hers, and I got the majority of what they called the ass busting or the bullying or the freezing up in the attic where her new boyfriend made a room. Okay, so then I was in Girl Scouts. I told the police, I said I was in Girl Scouts at that time. Mr. DiCaprio, he doesn't remember that his mother was my Girl Scout leader, that we went to Explorer Post. We did hiking, camping. I was usually up to the ice skating rink being harassed, sexually harassed by these guys because they thought it was funny. But at 14 years old, you move on with your life. Children cannot give consent. These police officers obviously don't know that, because then I tried to go to college. Marie Raleigh, a corrections officer, is wondering why I'm bringing this stuff up now, because y'all continue. Because I tried to get an apartment in Schenectady and was harassed there. But unfortunately, the guy that I got the apartment from, his mother, his sister and brother passed away. They OD'd! Okay? And it was horrible after he stole some jewelry from me. Okay, I walked into a pawn shop because I used to take the bus home, and I ended up getting my grandmother's ring. I never got my school ring back. Okay, it was horrible. Coke. Okay. So then I get lured. Down in New Paltz. They started trouble. I came up to Albany. Who's my roommate? Generational cops. I told her in a nice way. I was one of those kids that tried to be a good kid, and I was always told, get out and they, my mother often for the cop's going to take you away, children's home, blah, blah, blah. I was one of those kids. Do you want to date a cop? She says, I said, no, I don't want to date a cop. Okay. What do we do? Oh, come on, come to Lark Tavern. Went to Lark Tavern. Okay. Thought I got out of there. I was trying to be polite. Room full of cops. Okay. I went on with my life. 2 months later, I'm dating this man. He's a detective's son, doesn't tell me. Mr. Fred Winters over here starting trouble on State Street. All the hell I was put up through over there. So now I come over here, I find out this man was a cop, Mr. John Cuddy. I treated these people like family, my ex-husband and his family. It seems to me you should stop lying, John. I went up to talk to John and his cousin John, and he told me he's worried about his own house. What does your house, Mr. Cuddy, have to do with mine? After throwing me on the street. So many questions, but these people ought to continue. It seems to me that police officers should have something better to do than chase around a middle-aged woman, because this continues. Because here they say they did a thorough investigation. Well, really, if you did a thorough investigation, it wouldn't have turned out like this. I wouldn't have been thrown on the street without any of my assets and being called a crack whore. Yeah, the mentally ill, crazy crack whore. This is the slurs that these men use. Okay, so start doing your job and leave me alone. I should be able to go to Target and get some water, and I'm certainly not celebrating the 4th of July. It's repugnant. My first mother's boyfriend was a war hero. Her second boyfriend was in the Air Force, various police officers, and my ex-husband continues to get a free pass with everybody after having a violent felony. Be involved with all these guys at the Annex. I didn't go. I wasn't popular. They all hung out at the Annex. All football players, all big house parties, all the time. And I can get into more specifics with all this coke that I found out later on, which I don't care. I don't judge people on their coke habits. I certainly didn't judge people back then. I went on with my life. But you know what? All these people get together now to fraud me out of my assets, and it needs to stop. I should be able to live my life and go forward, but it all continues. So stay tuned. I guess we have to get into more of the statistics. Sorry, I can't talk, and it's really hot, and I'm wondering what law enforcement actually does around here. Because in Florida now, they just rescued 60 children, but this is what continues to go on in Amsterdam. Now we have 2 police chiefs, 2 sexual predators. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. So you both all continue this, Mr. Spencer and Mr. Magna, getting more police officers involved to harass innocent women that haven't done anything to you but to try to live their lives, all the way back to when we were 5 years old. So stay tuned, because I guess we got to talk about, they want to dig up all the stuff from when I was a child, and they can't seem to get the facts straight. The evidence, the facts straight. But leave it to cops to lie. This is why rape kits don't get processed. Certainly that's enough scientific evidence, right? But they have to all continue. Okay, so I took a photograph of the silver SUV in the parking lot waiting for me, continued the harassment. I posted it on the community page, and I'm making this video, and we will continue to talk about the constant harassment when you speak out about protecting children. Be safe out there, guys.